Hello everyone, my name is Lauren and I'm here to talk to you a bit about The House That Jane Built, a story about Jane Addams by Tanya Stone and illustrated by Catherine Brown. This book is a fantastic expository text. I chose this for a third grade classroom and I actually hope to use this in my own classroom one day. I love this book, the way that it's structured, its illustrations, the information that it has, the ease of its reading. I highly would recommend having this book in your classroom. One of the things I love most is that this book is an Orbis Pictus recommendation book, so there are wonderful pictures for students to look at as they're reading this book. Makes it come to life, so as you're reading, it's not just a historical book necessarily, but there's so much more to it because of the wonderful contributions of Catherine Brown. But at the same time, Tanya Stone does a great job of making this nonfiction really interesting to kids, and she really conveys the message that if you are able to, it's always nice to provide a hand to those who are in need. So great message, great information in this book, and it's very fun, very kid-friendly. So in order to kind of collaborate with this wonderful book, this notable social studies trade book, I did apply some activities for before, during, and after reading. So before reading, I have students doing story impressions. Essentially, you give students 6 to 10 words, and they use those words and their keywords from the book that have some meaning to them, that these words play some sort of important role in the story. So essentially, these students use these words to make a kind of short summary of what they think the book might be about. This is not for them to be accurate. This is for them to just brainstorm, kind of start thinking about, who is Jane Addams? Was she poor? Was she wealthy? Was she in trouble and she needed help? You know, that's just an example of a couple words I used, but very fun, very easy for your students to use, kind of just a creative little precursor to reading your book. So during reading, I have students doing the story map. Essentially, it has setting, time, place, characters, the problem that was faced in the book, plot and events, and then finally the resolution at the end. So students can fill this out as detailed or as simply as you'd like. You can fill it out as a class or have them do it independently, which they're fully capable of doing as well, or even in partners and groups. This is a very fun and easy way for students to stay on task, to keep up with what they're reading, and to get the main points, the important information. Just a fun little friendly graphic organizer for them to fill out. So, and then finally, I have the State of the Union activity for after reading, and I actually had a lot of fun with this one. So basically, students are told that the President of the United States wants to recommend a book to the people of America, and he needs or she needs to know which one to choose and which one to recommend. So they have to use their evaluating skills at the Bloom's level to choose reasons and justifications to back up why this book is worthy of this recommendation by the president. And so that's great for the students because you can actually use this as an informal assessment to check their comprehension, to see if there are any gaps in their understanding, even to check vocabulary to see that they're using. You could even kind of incorporate the story impression words into this, have them mention certain things. I personally have them talk about the illustrations, text structure, writing of the author, and the message, that kind of thing. So those are all up for grabs, those topics for students to cover. But this is very fun, kind of makes them feel like they really need to sell their case because especially kids, they're thinking, oh, the president is like the biggest person ever. So I had a lot of fun with that. And you can, again, make it as detailed as you want, as simple as you want. Just a fun little after reading activity. Overall, this is a fantastic book. I would highly recommend it once again. An Orbis Pictus recommendation and a notable social studies trade book. This book has a lot going for it, and it definitely conveys a message of standing up and standing out, which was my thematic unit. So if you need to encourage kiddos to get involved, just teach them a little bit about history, or simply share a good read with them, I would highly recommend The House That Jane Built, a story about Jane Addams. Thank you.